Hello everybody and welcome to Rugby News, and on today's episode, Radradra signs for the Bristol Bears, Alan Clarke leaves head coach role at Ospreys, and Glasgow head coach Dave Rennie will be heading to Australia to be their head coach for the upcoming internationals in 2020. We start off with outstanding news and a brilliant signing. Radradra has signed for Bristol Bears from Bordeaux Begler. This will be apparent from next season, so he's not immediately joining. He'll be joining next season, and what a signing this is for them. It's really showing intent for Bristol, showing that they really want to push forward. They've got a plan for the future, and with the team that they're building at that club, I wouldn't be surprised to see them as title challengers in coming seasons. I mean, with the way they're playing at the moment, they could be perceived as title challengers now, and with the addition of Semi, that's just going to make it even more in their favour. They are building a hell of a team there, and this man, Radradra, is outstanding. He was amazing during the World Cup for Fiji, and he was just destroying everyone, breaking people's ankles left, right and centre, scoring tries. He scored 2 in the 4 games that he played for Fiji. He was simply outstanding. He was outstanding for Bordeaux as well, since he's been there, outstanding for too long when he joined from Rugby League as well a couple of seasons ago. And it's going to be one hell of a signing, and I'm pretty sure I'm not alone in saying this, but the rest of the Premiership, even if their rivals at Bristol, are going to be, well, fans-wise, are going to be so excited to see him in the Premiership, especially if you're a neutral. It's going to be entertaining as hell with him in the Premiership. And there were rumours of him going back to League. There were League clubs who wanted him, but he stuck with Union, and he's off to Bristol, and that, well, yeah, a fantastic signing for them. On to the next bit of news, and this one's a bit more less savoury, shall we say, in the fact that Alan Clarke has left the head coach role at Ospreys. Now, this was inevitable, to be honest. I saw this one coming. I wasn't expecting him to stay ever since he joined Ospreys at the start of the 2018 season, I think. 2018-19 season, I think he started around then. And he didn't take Ospreys initially to a Champions Cup place last season. They had to go through a qualification against the Scarlets to get there. So it wasn't an amazing season for them last year. And then this season's been awful. And with one win in all their games they played this season, got battered against Saracens in what was Alan Clarke's last game as head coach, 44-3. They even lost in this losing run to Southern Kings, the whipping boys of the Pro 14. And ever since then, he said, that Southern Kings loss, he said that these are dark days for Ospreys, and he almost put the pressure on himself by saying that. And it's led to his, I don't want to call it sacking, but that's kind of what this is. But it's led to him leaving his role. And overall, I think it's good for the Ospreys just to move on. I do think the injury list that they've got doesn't help. The amount of players they had at the World Cup, and the injury list that they have does not help his situation, but still, it wasn't good enough, and he's gone. So, I think it's ultimately could end up being better for Ospreys if they bring in a new lease of life. Don't know who it will be. There's no rumours at the moment on who it will be, but whoever it is, if they come in and bring in a new lease of life to Ospreys, and just because they almost seem like they aren't there half the time, they don't play very well, and if they can, the new man in charge can bring them up, start helping them play better, then ultimately it's going to be better for their future. And it helps for their season as well, because if they're going on this run, they don't want this to continue, and if they feel like it's the head coach that's the issue, then they will change that, and they have. So yeah, we'll see how Ospreys get on in the coming games that they have. We'll see who their new head coach will be in the coming days, and yeah, we'll see how they get on after Alan Clarke has left the head coach role. And finally, this in this episode in the news, this is old news. This was a week or so ago now, but it's still quite big, and it's Dave Rennie, who is Glasgow Warriors coach at the moment, head coach. He will be going to Australia to be head coach of Australia as a whole, as a country. And yeah, this ultimately, this was before their game against Exeter in the Champions Cup, and this is good news for Australia because he's a great head coach. He's brilliant. He's done a very good job at Glasgow. He's kept them steady. He's kept them challenging. He's done a decent job, and he's a very good coach. And I think that if he manages to stamp his authority on the Australian side, they can be a threat because they do have good players, the Australians. They just looked more like individuals during the World Cup and previously as well. If he can make them more of a team, Dave Rennie, he could really help them in the future. But in terms of Glasgow Warriors, he is staying there for the rest of this season, and then when the autumn and summer internationals come, that's when he will be head coach of Australia. So as soon as he finishes with Glasgow Warriors, he'll be off to Australia and becoming head coach for the summer internationals. In terms of Glasgow for the rest of this season, I don't know how well it's going to work out. We've seen this before, that usually managers who say they're going to leave and then stay until the end of the season, they don't seem to do too well with their teams. We've seen it with Scarlets and Wayne Pivac last year, who was already announced as Wales coach, and last year Scarlets weren't very good with the team they've got. And maybe that was because of Wayne Pivac in his final year knowing he wasn't going to be there the next year. Maybe this could be the same issue with Glasgow, and maybe that could be why they lost to Exeter. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on for the rest of the season, Glasgow, with this news looming over Dave Rennie. But yeah, this was rumoured a while ago. I think it was also rumoured that he was going to New Zealand, but whether he was approached by them or not, he has accepted Australia instead. So yeah, overall I think it's very good for Australia. I think he's a good head coach, and I think he will make them much better, and he'll put them in a better place than they are now than when Michael Cheika left him. But in terms of Glasgow, I can see him struggling for the rest of the season due to this news. Just based on past events when things like this has happened before, I feel like Glasgow could struggle for the rest of the season. But yeah, as I said, in the long run for Australia, this is a brilliant move, and I can see him moving up in the rankings and in terms of game play as well in the coming years. So yeah, that is rugby news for this episode. Thank you for watching. I will try to do more of this in the future. And yeah, so yeah, thanks for watching, and please like, please subscribe. I'll see you in a bit.